Yo, what's up, guys? So, after 5 years as Dallas Cowboys head coach, Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys have decided to part ways. Guys, Mike McCarthy finishes off with a record of 49 and 35. He had a winning percentage of 583. It's the fourth best record in Dallas Cowboy history, guys. He obviously made the playoffs three times out of his 5 years with those three straight 12-win seasons, guys. His first year, obviously, finishing off the year 6 and 10. We all remember what happened in 2020. Dak Prescott snapped his ankle. Cowboys missed the playoffs that year. And then the same thing happens in his final year. Dak Prescott gets injured, tears his hamstring. Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys finish off 7 and 10. Don't make the playoffs. And Jerry Jones has decided now it is time for a change at head coach. Now, guys, I'm very happy about this move by the Dallas Cowboys. I wanted Mike McCarthy gone. I felt the Cowboys needed a change at head coach. There were certain times where Mike McCarthy drove me nuts with his play calling, his game management, the clock management as well. It was like the guy drove me nuts a lot of the times. Listen, the Cowboys had some great years with him as well. Obviously, like I mentioned, those 3-12-win seasons, some great memories with the Cowboys, but more bad than good with Mike McCarthy. Of course, obviously, he had that playoff win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against Tom Brady, but that team was very depleted. It was his only playoff win as Dallas Cowboys head coach. We all know the difficulties he had as head coach with the Dallas Cowboys. He had those horrendous playoff losses to the 49ers, embarrassing playoff losses. Then we had the embarrassing playoff loss last year to the Green Bay Packers, where I felt he should have been fired right then and there that year with all the great coaches available last year. I felt it was the Cowboys' time to move on from him, but Jerry Jones felt he needed one more year, and then now Jerry Jones decides it's time to move on. But of course, guys, there's always some controversy in regarding the Dallas Cowboys and their decision-making and how they go about it and stuff. And once again, I have to say the Dallas Cowboys did not go about this the right way, of course. Now, obviously, we heard that Mike McCarthy had an opportunity to maybe be interviewed by the Chicago Bears. The Bears did ask the Cowboys for permission, of course, because McCarthy had exclusivity rights to the Cowboys till tomorrow, January 14th. But that did not happen, of course. Obviously, the Cowboys denied the request by the Bears to let them interview Mike McCarthy. So then everyone starts suspecting, okay, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys clearly want to bring back Mike McCarthy, give him an extension and all that stuff. And then the day before the rights expire, Jerry Jones says, okay, we're going to move on from Mike McCarthy. Now, I feel it's a very petty move by Jerry Jones. You don't let the guy get interviewed by the team, then you don't give him an extension, and this is not the first petty thing Jerry Jones has done in the last week and a half. We all saw what he did in the last game of the season where he didn't start Cooper Rush because Cooper Rush had to take a certain amount of snaps to get an incentive. It was a $500K incentive, and Jerry Jones did not play Cooper Rush. He decided to play Trey Lance, and then Jerry Jones has the audacity after the game to say, well, I didn't know that Cooper Rush had an incentive on the line. That's why I didn't play him. Jerry Jones pretended to be dumb. Like, we don't know that he knows that he's lying. Like, it's an absolute embarrassment by Jerry Jones to insinuate that he had no idea that Cooper Rush had that money on the line and to say all these things. The funniest thing, too, about Jerry Jones, he also talks about Mike McCarthy. Well, if you don't want to be here, you can go and talk to other teams. I really would. And then he doesn't denies him an interview with the Bears. Now, Mike McCarthy's gone now. He's going to have many opportunities to interview with many teams. The Bears are probably one of the first options, and the New Orleans Saints are another option. But, guys, like I've been saying, the Cowboys did need a change because they've had failings in the playoffs too many times. You lost to one of the youngest teams in the NFL, to the Packers, last year. I felt the message needed to be changed. Yes, the Cowboys did show some fight at the end of the year, winning 4 of their last 7. They did a really good job. And I also felt that maybe because of that, Jerry Jones was willing to keep Mike McCarthy because they didn't have Dak. They didn't have a lot of players during the season. Micah was up for 4 weeks. Deron Bland was up for 6 to 7 weeks. Trayvon Diggs had surgery. Lots of guys were missing, of course, obviously. But I'm glad Jerry Jones said, no, it's time to make a change. We need a new voice in the room. Now, who will that new voice be, of course? That is the big question, of course. There are many coaches available now, guys. You got the offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson of the Detroit Lions. You got the defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, Aaron Glenn. You have guys like Cliff Kingsbury available. You have Pete Carroll available. Doug Peterson available. These are just names I'm throwing out there. Brian Flores is available. A bunch of other names out there, guys. You have John Gruden. who works for Barstool, but I don't think he's going to get a head coaching job anytime soon. You have Deion Sanders, who's at Colorado. There's some reports about Jerry Jones, possibly him being the number one candidate. You have Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Lots of options out there, guys, but do I feel they're great options for the Cowboys? No, I don't. I felt last year's options were a lot better. Of course, you had also Mike Vrabel getting announced as the head coach for the Patriots today. Last year I liked the Cowboys' better options. Last year they had an opportunity to maybe hire a guy like Jim Harbaugh, but they didn't do that, of course. So that was unfortunate. But now the Cowboys have to decide to hire a head coach. And if you guys ask me, it is between Deion Sanders and Ben Johnson. Those are my two favorite options. Now, do I think Jerry Jones will hire them? No, because those guys are going to command a lot of money and they're going to demand a lot of choices in the locker room, of course. They're going to want to dictate what happens. So we know Jerry Jones isn't crazy about giving up a little bit of power to a head coach, right? So Kellen Moore is a scary option for me, guys. He could be an option for the Cowboys. He's not my favorite option, but he has been in the organization. Dak's backup quarterback, obviously former offensive coordinator under Mike McCarthy. Of course, until McCarthy pushed him out the door to take over the play calling duties. So Kellen Moore, for me, guys, is somebody you got to look out for. He could be a real serious option for the Cowboys in the offseason now. But like I've been saying, guys, I would prefer a guy like Deion Sanders or a guy like Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson will really help this Cowboys offense. Guys, look what he's done to a guy like Jared Goff. He's turned Jared Goff into a great quarterback, a quarterback who doesn't make the wrong throw, makes the right throw, not making too many risk-taking plays. Ben Johnson has done a hell of a job with Jared Goff in that offense. Obviously they have two great running backs. Of course, they got some great receivers. Cowboys have that as well. If they draft Genty, we got CeeDee Lamb. If we get a number 2 wide receiver, we got the options there as well for Ben Johnson to come in and do some really good things with the Dallas Cowboys offense. But he's going to command probably around $15 million a year. So that's going to be a very high price for Jerry Jones to pay. But apparently I've been reading on Twitter as well that he's willing to offer Deion Sanders that kind of money. So we're going to have to wait and see what Jerry Jones decides, guys. But those would be my two options right now. Kellen Moore, he has an outside chance of possibly being the next head coach. Obviously, the Eagles won yesterday. They beat the Packers, of course. Green Bay Packers, of course. The only team they can beat in a locker game is us Dallas Cowboy fans. The Packers were brutal yesterday, of course. But the Eagles weren't great either. But that's why Kellen Moore is possibly a candidate for the Cowboys head coach now, because what he's done with the offense of the Eagles. Obviously, Saquon Barkley's done majority of the work for the Eagles, but Jerry Jones might be deluded enough to think Kellen Moore has done the work in Philadelphia this year. I'm going to make him my head coach. Guys, this is what Jerry Jones could be thinking. I'm not saying he is going to be thinking this way. Do I want Kellen Moore as head coach? No. Obviously, another option, guys, was Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick could have been another option before he took the job at North Carolina. He does have a $10 million buyout, but I don't see Bill Belichick leaving North Carolina as soon as he just got there. So for me, that is an unrealistic option for Bill Belichick to possibly be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. But a guy like Deion Sanders, guys, I would love. He is a leader, Deion Sanders. He's a Super Bowl champion with the Dallas Cowboys. He demands respect. Okay, look what he's done with Colorado. Obviously, they didn't go to a championship game or anything like that, but they've had respectable years. He's done a really good job with the son Shador. Obviously, Travis Hunter he's coached. A guy like Deion Sanders demands instant respect when he walks into the room, and I think that is something this Dallas Cowboy team needs moving forward, guys. They need a leader, someone who demands respect, someone who is the voice of the room. Not everybody dictating their own things. You got guys like Micah Parsons, running his mouth after games saying Mike McCarthy can go here and there. Deion Sanders would not allow that type of disrespect. He would not allow players to run their mouth. I'm sure he would let them have the freedom to talk, but not disrespect them in any way. And that's something that we need in a head coach. Somebody the players not fear, but respect. And that's what I'm hoping for Jerry Jones looks for in a head coach. But listen, guys, I may be sounding delusional a little bit here because, this is Jerry Jones we're talking about here. Jerry Jones has to be the voice of everything. He needs to be the one dictating everything. He needs to be the center of attention, of course. So listen, I may be sounding a little bit naive, but this is somebody like Deion Sanders who I would love the Cowboys to hire. I'm not saying he will, but these are options I would love. The other names I threw out there, like a Kellen Moore, Cliff Kingsbury, Brian Flores, those guys might be something more suitable for Jerry Jones because he can maybe decide what happens with the team with those guys there. So I don't know what's going to happen with the Cowboys moving forward, guys. These are my personal opinions. I would like the Cowboys to look at either Ben Johnson or a Deion Sanders. Those would be two great hires for the Dallas Cowboys as head coach. Now, obviously, Deion Sanders has also said things about how he would never coach the NFL. All these guys were rich, entitled, all that other stuff. He'd rather coach young men, guiding them in the right direction, all those things Deion has said in the past. But listen, maybe Jerry Jones persuades him and talks to him and tells him, Deion, maybe you can really help this team and help me get another Super Bowl. Who knows, right? It would be a great option for the Dallas Cowboys if they could get a winner like Deion Sanders in there. Now, Ben Johnson would be a first-time head coach, someone with not as much experience. I don't know if Jerry Jones would be able to trust him as much, but we'll have to wait and see. But, guys, this was the right move, I felt, for the Dallas Cowboys to fire Mike McCarthy. Like I said, 3 great years with them, but 2 bad years. And I felt the bad overweighed the good with the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of embarrassing things happened with the Cowboys under Mike McCarthy. Obviously, guys, he's a human being. I wish him nothing but the best in his next adventure as a head coach. But now it's time for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys to move forward, find the right head coach to bring this team to the next step forward. But guys, like I've been saying this entire video, it's Jerry Jones. We have to take it with a grain of salt, though. But I do think this was the right move by the organization to move on from Mike McCarthy. It's time now to get someone in here that can maybe elevate the team, maybe get Dak Prescott elevated to another level, get CeeDee Lamb continuing to play the way he's been playing, get someone in here that can help the defense out. The draft is going to be something huge. That's another thing about the defense. Will Mike Zimmer be back? I don't think he will be. I think the next head coach is going to want to bring in his own people, of course. It is going to be a very intriguing offseason for us Dallas Cowboy fans, guys, with the coach. Will Jerry Jones finally be active in free agency? Of course, Jerry Jones, guys, brought this season upon himself, guys. We all knew that the way Jerry Jones acted in the offseason, not signing anybody, not bringing anybody to help the offense. Like, you bring Zeke Elliott back, then you release him to go to the Chargers. Like, it was a disastrous year waiting to happen. We all expected it because of the way the Cowboys operated, like I said, in free agency, not making trades, not doing anything to improve this team. And we all knew it was going to be a lame duck season, and a lot of people predicted it too, that it was just going to be one of those years for the Cowboys where it's like, wait and see. It was so predictable by the Cowboys, and we have nobody to blame but Jerry Jones. He brought this upon himself. The Cowboys are in the position they are in now because of Jerry Jones refusing to relinquish his GM duties, continuing to think he is the solution to bringing the Dallas Cowboys back to the top of the mountain, guys. And I just don't think that is the case. He is just an owner who is delusional, who thinks he can be a guy like Al Davis, and that is absolutely not the case when it comes to Jerry Jones. And this entire season and mess is his fault and his fault alone, guys. But guys, thank you very much for watching this video. As always, guys, click like if you like this video. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Go Cowboys, go, guys. And remember, if you do not watch sports, you're a mort. Ciao, guys.